While you're worrying about your daughter's college applications and SAT scores, there's a community in America where bright 14-year-old girls will never see the inside of a high school. The Amish have a 99% literacy rate, and their children score above average on standardized tests. Yet these same girls who could excel at Harvard or MIT face an absolute ban on higher education. The eighth grade wall. Picture this moment. Sarah, an Amish girl, sits in her one-room schoolhouse on her final day of formal education. She's 14, while her non-Amish friends prepare for high school algebra, biology, and literature. Sarah faces an invisible wall. Tomorrow, her classmates will discuss Shakespeare and science experiments. She'll never join those conversations. No chemistry labs, no history debates, no college applications. The door to advanced learning slams shut, and it's locked forever. This isn't just about missing classes. It's about missing possibilities. The religious foundation. This educational barrier isn't arbitrary. It's built on centuries of religious conviction. Amish leaders quote Colossians 2-8, warning against being spoiled through philosophy and vain deceit. They believe higher education breeds dangerous pride, pulling young people away from God and community. The concept of Gelassenheit, complete submission to God's will, forms their core philosophy. Education beyond practical needs represents worldly ambition, the very sin their ancestors fled Europe to escape in the 1600s. To Amish bishops, a college-educated woman becomes a threat to divine order. She might question, she might challenge, she might think she knows better than centuries of tradition. And that, they believe, leads straight to spiritual destruction. Marriage economics. The education ban isn't just religious, it's economic survival. Amish girls typically marry between 18 and 22, immediately entering a world where they'll birth 6 to 8 children. This isn't coincidence, it's calculation. Higher education would delay marriage, disrupting a 300-year-old economic model where women's roles center on household production and child rearing. An educated woman might question why she can't pursue career ambitions. She might delay having children. She might even challenge the financial dependency that keeps Amish marriages stable. The community has survived because women dedicate their prime years to family building, not degree earning. College would introduce dangerous ideas about female independence, career fulfillment, and delayed motherhood. These concepts threaten the very foundation of Amish economic structure, where every role serves community survival rather than individual achievement. The gender divide. The educational restrictions reveal a stark gender divide that most outsiders never recognize. Amish boys face limitations too, but they're softer, more flexible. Some young men learn business skills, interact with English customers, even attend trade workshops when community needs require it. Girls get no such flexibility. Their educational ceiling is absolute, their future roles predetermined. While boys might become farmers, carpenters, or shop owners, roles requiring some continued learning, girls face singular destiny, wife and mother. This divide reflects deep-seated beliefs about male authority and female submission. An educated woman might challenge her husband's decisions, question church leadership, or worse, influence other women to think independently. The community carefully channels female intelligence into acceptable directions, managing households, teaching children, supporting husbands, while ensuring it never develops beyond controllable boundaries. This gender-specific education policy reveals how traditional communities use learning restrictions to maintain power structures that have governed them for generations. Skills over degrees. But don't mistake this for educational neglect. After formal schooling ends, Amish girls enter sophisticated apprenticeships that would impress any university. They master complex quilting patterns requiring advanced mathematical calculations. They learn botanical medicine, understanding which herbs treat specific ailments and how to prepare them safely. They develop business acumen, selling crafts at markets and managing household budgets with remarkable skill. Some Amish women earn $30,000 annually through their traditional crafts, so more than many college graduates make in entry-level positions. Their cooking involves chemistry principles, understanding how different ingredients interact at various temperatures. Their sewing requires engineering knowledge, creating patterns that fit perfectly without modern measuring tools. This alternative education system produces highly capable, financially successful women who take enormous pride in their expertise. The community argues these practical skills serve real-world needs far better than theoretical knowledge taught in universities. Why study abstract concepts when you can master tangible skills that feed families and generate income? The shunning reality. Those who dare challenge this system face consequences most people can't imagine. Meidung, the practice of shunning, doesn't mean simple social awkwardness. It means complete isolation from everyone you've ever known. When an Amish girl pursues higher education, her family can't eat at the same table with her. They can't speak to her directly, accept gifts from her, or provide any assistance. She becomes invisible, a ghost walking among her former community. The psychological devastation is intentional and absolute. Maria, who left her community for nursing school, describes sitting outside her family's house for hours, watching through windows, as her siblings played games she once shared. Her mother couldn't acknowledge her presence, couldn't offer comfort when Maria cried. The shunning doesn't end when education is complete. It continues until death, unless the person completely abandons their educational pursuits and begs forgiveness. Some families move away entirely rather than choose between their daughter and their community. The emotional blackmail is sophisticated and effective. Most girls, faced with losing everyone they love, abandon educational dreams before they fully form. The modern challenge, yet this carefully controlled system faces unprecedented modern pressures. The outside world increasingly penetrates Amish communities through business requirements, healthcare needs, and government regulations. Some Amish businesses now compete globally, requiring legal knowledge and financial expertise that traditional education doesn't provide. Young women witness this complexity and question why they're excluded from acquiring necessary skills. Social media, when secretly accessed during Rumspringa, exposes them to alternative life paths they never knew existed. Healthcare needs force interaction with educated professionals who clearly demonstrate the value of advanced learning. Government regulations require specialized understanding that goes beyond traditional knowledge. Some Amish communities report retention rates dropping from 95% to 85%, with education restrictions being a primary factor in young people's decisions to leave. Even within leadership, quiet debates emerge about whether complete educational prohibition serves modern community needs. Some bishops privately worry that absolute restrictions might drive away their brightest members, weakening the community's long-term survival prospects. Breaking the cycle. For the rare few who choose education over community, the journey is extraordinarily difficult but sometimes remarkably successful. These women leave with no social security numbers, limited documentation, and massive culture shock. They've never written research papers, used computers, or navigated complex academic systems, yet their success rates surprise educators. Their strong work ethic, basic educational foundation, and determination often propel them to academic excellence. Many choose helping professions, nursing, teaching, social work, often specifically to assist other ex-Amish individuals. Rebecca, who became a registered nurse, spent her first semester learning to use a computer while simultaneously mastering anatomy and physiology. The emotional cost remains enormous. She hasn't spoken to her parents in 12 years, missed her siblings' weddings, and struggles with identity questions that therapy can't fully resolve. Some who left for education attempted to return after graduation, hoping education might be forgiven once completed. They were refused. The community views education as a permanent corruption that can't be undone. These women often marry non-Amish men, raise children with completely different values, and carry lifelong grief for the family connections they sacrificed. Yet many report no regrets, finding fulfillment in careers that use their intelligence and serve others. Community enforcement. The education restriction maintains itself through sophisticated social mechanisms that go far beyond formal shunning. Amish schools subtly reinforce limitations by celebrating students who embrace traditional roles, while subtly discouraging those who ask too many questions about the outside world. Community meetings regularly feature success stories of women who found happiness in traditional paths, contrasting these with cautionary tales about the dangers of worldly education. Peer pressure among young women is intense and carefully cultivated. Girls who express educational ambitions face gentle but persistent social correction from friends, relatives, and church members. Parents begin preparing daughters for educational limitations from early childhood, emphasizing the temporary nature of formal schooling and the permanent importance of family roles. Church districts vary in strictness, but none tolerate outright defiance. Some communities have developed subtle early warning systems, identifying girls who seem too interested in learning and providing extra guidance to redirect their interests toward acceptable channels. The enforcement appears loving and protective rather than punitive, making it harder for young women to recognize the restrictions as limitations rather than care. The alternative perspective: many Amish women genuinely support these educational restrictions, viewing them as protection rather than limitation. They point to statistics showing higher rates of depression, anxiety, and family breakdown among highly educated women in mainstream society. English women, they observe, often struggle to balance career ambitions with family responsibilities, frequently expressing regret about delayed childbearing or missed family time. Amish women report high levels of life satisfaction, strong community support, and clear purpose that many educated women seem to lack. They argue that their practical skills provide more security than degrees that might become obsolete. Their marriages show greater stability, their children receive more parental attention, and their communities offer support systems that educated, mobile populations often lack. These women see the education ban as wisdom, not oppression. They've witnessed the confusion and searching that characterizes many modern women's lives and feel grateful for clarity about their roles and purposes. From their perspective, higher education creates problems it promises to solve, offering career possibilities while potentially destroying family foundations that provide real fulfillment. The hidden cost of tradition: this educational restriction creates a devastating brain drain that weakens entire communities over generations. When you systematically exclude 50% of your population from developing their intellectual potential, you lose innovations, solutions, and perspectives that could benefit everyone. Imagine if America had banned women from universities in the 1960s. We'd have lost countless medical breakthroughs, technological advances, and social improvements. The Amish face this exact scenario daily. Brilliant girls who could become doctors to serve their community's healthcare needs, teachers to improve their schools, or innovators to solve agricultural challenges are instead limited to traditional roles. Some Amish communities struggle with genetic disorders that could benefit from members trained in genetics or medicine. Others face business challenges that require legal or financial expertise their restricted education system can't provide. The irony is stark. Communities that pride themselves on self-sufficiency create artificial dependencies by refusing to fully educate their human resources. This brain drain affects not just individual women, but entire generations of families who could benefit from educated mothers, daughters, and wives. The long-term consequences ripple through community development, economic growth, and problem-solving capabilities in ways most Amish leaders refuse to acknowledge or address. This practice reveals fundamental tensions that extend far beyond Amish communities. Every society struggles to balance individual opportunity with collective stability, tradition with progress, personal freedom with community needs. The Amish educational ban represents an extreme position in these universal debates, one that prioritizes community preservation over individual achievement. Their approach raises uncomfortable questions about modern assumptions regarding education, gender roles, and personal fulfillment. Can a community survive if it allows unlimited individual choice? Do educational opportunities always lead to greater happiness? Is it possible that some traditional restrictions, however limiting they appear, actually serve important social functions? The Amish example doesn't provide easy answers, but it forces examination of our own cultural assumptions. Their system produces stable families, strong communities, and genuinely content individuals, even while limiting individual potential. Perhaps the real lesson isn't whether their approach is right or wrong, but rather how any community navigates the eternal tension between preserving what works and adapting to what's changing. The conversation continues, and the choices remain as complex as ever.
What makes this practice even more striking is how it contrasts with global educational trends. While countries like Rwanda mandate equal education for girls and boys, while Saudi Arabia now allows women in universities, while Afghanistan's education ban on girls faces worldwide condemnation, the Amish quietly maintain their own version of educational apartheid in the heart of democratic America. International human rights organizations fight for girls' education in developing nations, Yet this systematic exclusion happens in Pennsylvania and Ohio without international oversight. The United Nations considers education a fundamental human right, but religious freedom protections shield Amish practices from scrutiny. This creates a complex legal and ethical situation where practices that would spark international outrage elsewhere continue unchallenged because they occur within established religious communities. Countries emerging from conflict prioritize girls' education as essential for national development and progress. Meanwhile, some of America's most stable, peaceful communities deliberately restrict it. The contrast highlights how cultural context shapes our perception of what constitutes acceptable limitations on individual rights. While we champion Malala Yousafzai's fight for education in Pakistan, we remain largely silent about similar restrictions in our own backyard. This double standard raises uncomfortable questions about when religious freedom justifies limiting individual potential and whether geographic or cultural proximity affects our moral judgments about educational access.